Although edited for television, tonight's thriller contains scenes of suspense and violence which may be unsuitable for young viewers. Parental discretion is advised.
State-of-the-art Japanese animation.
Hello.
Howdy.
Welcome to the Otaku Host Club podcast. I am your injured host, Amelia.
I'm Dan. I'm here. I just woke up about 10 minutes ago.
Way to go. Yay. Thanks for being here with us, Dan.
It was a struggle, but I did it.
This is Geoff. I've got my tape measure out for the perfect voice to microphone distance.
Yeah. We're getting a lesson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Geoff is teaching us how to be better podcasters. He's got it all figured out.
In my head, at least.
I think in reality, too.
In reality? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. We're coming off the last episode of with the Anime Bros.
I know. That was such a fun episode.
Yeah, that was a good time.
I was nervous because it wasn't Otaku Melancholy, but it was okay.
It was strangely nervous, but I think after listening to some episodes from them, they're like very comfortable to be around. If that makes sense.
Y'all hear that? Y'all comfy.
They're just like talking to old friends, or your old your own family members.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could talk to my family members about anime.
Yeah, I don't talk to my family beyond my dad, really.
Actually,
I talk to my grandma sometimes.
Yeah, that's a lie. I give my mom recommendations all the time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, she really liked the cat whisperer of a cat. What was that Netflix movie? The Cat Whisperer.
The one that you guys didn't like.
Yeah, when I cry, I wear a cat. Or I want to cry, I wear a cat. Whatever the fucking shit whisker away it was called.
Oh, so I didn't watch it. The only thing I remember, if I remember right, is that you and Matt hated it.
Hate's a strong word, but it's it's just it's like Studio Ghibli, That's just it's just the vibes.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? I love Studio Ghibli stuff.
It's comfy vibes, but is there substance? I'm shocked. I don't know.
So it's like Studio Ghibli, but without the intellect.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds okay to me, personally.
But it's not Earwig or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, it wasn't fucking Earwig. Jesus Christ. Fuck that movie. Fuck that movie.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, I didn't even put that shit on my anime list.
Oh. So you're at 406 anime instead of 405 then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is my total now? I'm gonna look real quick. Yeah, we were.
Oh, I know, because I just peeped it. I've been keeping a close eye on your anime.
Yeah. Yeah. So Amelia broke into the 400 club.
Yay! It's a feat because there's a lot of bad anime out there.
But you're still like 20 days of anime behind me.
I know. What the heck is that? It's because you watch One Piece.
No, I haven't included any episodes of One Piece into my total.
Hell was that?
That was me saying fuck, but not. That was
so that probably adds another couple of days onto mine because I haven't put in because I'm still watching it. So I don't check what individual episodes I'm watching. When I finish a series, I just put that it's completed and let it fill in. So I haven't completed One Piece, so I haven't filled anything in for it.
Oh, so you haven't like even done like per season?
No.
Yeah. Okay. That'll bump you right up.
Yeah.
Oh, in the completed, because I think completed just means like seasons. How many like seasons of anime? Not like total series.
Well, yeah. Well, when you switch to completed, it fills in the like however many episodes. Like
you're looking at episode count.
Yeah.
Got it.
Episode count.
Okay.
I'm waiting to add in like 900 episodes of One Piece in the event that someone starts to catch up to me. Like if you're getting too close, then I need that it's like the nitro initial D, like if you're getting too close, I'm like, add in that One Piece.
It's like your sensu bean.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. It's a headache. But anyway, today we have a review of Wonder Egg Priority, or as Dan calls it,
the egg that is the top priority for its wonderfulness.
Today's episode is a lot of new stuff because we're going to be talking about some seasonals, and Wonder Egg just finished up.
Who did it though?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too.
It's like the epilogue of some crazy fucking anime.
Yeah.
We'll get into that, but that's
There's a lot of stuff to talk about with Wonder Egg.
There is.
But I guess first, do we talk about anime news?
Yeah, what's in the news?
What's the news?
Yeah, we know what the big news is. Geoff and I know at least.
How dare you think that I don't know the news?
Is that JoJo's Part 6 has been confirmed?
Yes.
Stone Ocean.
Yeah. So, well, when you said it before we were recording, I was like, Star Ocean, Stone Ocean. What is that? And then I remembered. Oh yeah,
Stoner.
JoJo Part 6. And I was like, oh yeah, mental note. I need to really binge JoJo before that comes out.
I like to call it Stoner Ocean because I think that's a better name. And it's supposed to be the most, I haven't read the manga, but it's the most abstract and sort of complex in terms of narrative, at least. I don't know. It seems like an odd one. Not that the last season and arc were odd. Not odd.
Yeah, it does seem that that's the evolution of JoJo's as a franchise. We were talking about that a little bit last episode about old shonen versus new shonen, and how JoJo as a franchise kind of mirrors this, where the early stuff is so straightforward and somewhat formulaic, which is not a bad thing at all. But then as time goes on, by the time you get to Part 5, things really start to take on thematic density and symbolic weight, and it's really powerful stuff, and I'm looking forward to seeing that continue into Part 6. I also have not read the manga, so this is going to be brand spanking new to me.
And this is not canon necessarily, right? Jolene Cujo is the main character. So it's not like she's related to any of the Joestars, right?
I thought she was Jotaro's daughter.
Okay. All right. Well, I stand corrected, but I want to see where this goes with the OVA or ONA, I should say, on Netflix.
Yeah,
I think we should review that maybe for next episode.
Yeah, I would do that. I also have not watched those yet, but I'm keen to. Yeah. And there's a couple. So maybe this is just something that is part of discussing these OVAs, but there's a couple of Part 4 OVAs centered around Rohan, right? And what is on Netflix there are more OVAs than are just on Netflix, or did Netflix just release all the Part 4 OVAs? Do we know? I don't know.
I thought Netflix just had the spinoff.
Yeah, the Part 4 OVAs, if I understand this correctly, are spin-offs of Rohan just doing random shit. Like Rohan goes to the art museum. Rohan runs on a treadmill at the gym. Stuff like that.
Yeah, Netflix doesn't have Diamond Unbreakable or Golden Wind yet. But I imagine they'll get on it, because if they have Rohan out, Netflix is the place to go to for this stuff.
Everybody's Googling and I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm Googling it now. Thus Spoke Kishibe Rohan is a series of OVA adaptations. So it's 4 episodes. On October 26, 2020, Netflix announced a worldwide release of the series, and on February 18th, 2021, dubbed and subbed versions of all 4 episodes premiered on the platform. So this answers the question that I had. So what is currently on Netflix is the entirety of the Part 4 OVAs.
Okay. And then Stone Ocean, wow, that concluded in 2003. So it's still old. Going back to our discussion about old shonen, it's like,
so
yeah,
that's old.
It's old, but it's like, it's new because it's been adapted, and it still feels fresh. A lot of
it. Still feels fresh is an important component here. Yeah, it's crazy. I think about this a lot in terms of music, insofar as, when I was younger, like around the 2000s, when I was first getting into punk, it was these bands like World Burns to Death and Tragedy that were so popular and so trendy, and I just love this shit so much. And I look back at something like Crass or Minor Threat, and I was like, yeah, this stuff is 20 years old. It's old, and I like that stuff too, but what is its relation to me? Like, stuff is older than I am. Fast forward 20 years. God damn, 20 years, fuck. And you think of like young people today looking back, and when I think of like, relevant current fresh bands, I'm like, well, World Burns to Death is it's a couple years old now, but still like, most powerful current band. I was like, no, that's just 20 years old, man. Like, some young person looks back at these bands, like looks back at World Burns to Death the same way that I looked back at something like Minor Threat or Crass. Is fucking 20 years old. Is a fucking ancient history. And how do you even relate to something like Crass and Minor Threat if you're a young person today? It's fucking 40 years old. It's like the age of your parents.
That's why I only like to watch new anime.
Yeah, and this works with anime as well. Like, how do you go back and process, I don't know, like the original Macross at this point if you're a young person. But also while this is true, I think for anime it's different insofar as a good story transcends, well, I was going to say a good story transcends kind of time and setting, and can survive based on its own artistic merit. But doesn't that work for music as well? Like, wouldn't that same argument hold for music? On the one hand, yeah, but on the other hand, I was thinking maybe it doesn't, because a lot of music is so like contextual to the time and place, and it's kind of reacting to the world around it at that time. Like, if you're making political music about the politics of the time, that those politics may shift as time goes on. Current issues, the current dialogue changes as time goes on. So
so like in 20 years, are people going to relate to Wet Ass Pussy? Just saying. Just
Yeah,
bringing,
you
just
know.
putting it out there.
Well, okay, so DMX unfortunately has passed away
Oh,
yeah,
R.I.P.
truth. Yeah, I
last
saw that.
weekend,
Yeah,
and
sad.
someone in the workroom was like,
Rough Riders for life.
yeah, 10 years younger than us, and he's like, someone asked him, do you get into DMX? And he was like, no, I like what's new. And I had to remind myself that a lot of his hits came out in the late 90s.
That was my time zone.
Yeah.
That was the perfect time for me. I loved DMX. I love the Rough Riders.
But his music is sort of ingrained, in my opinion, in our culture. Like, you can't, I don't know, when I think of DMX, I think of like 2 songs.
Yeah. Y'all gonna make me lose my mind.
Yeah. Which I've done multiple times in recent memory. I had that song playing in the background. And my shirt was off and I was all wet.
Oh, hell yeah.
Dripping wet.
Hell yeah.
Dripping wet.
Just like swinging my shirt around.
Yeah, DMX is a good example of like, the progression of time feels so slow when it's happening to you. But then when you think about the fact that, the big DMX hits are 20 years old now. And if you're a 20, early 20 something at this point, like, why the fuck would you be listening to DMX if except for like this cultural context or like historical context?
Well, I was working on my my streetwear brand's website this weekend, and I was thinking while I was doing some website stuff, I was like, stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop, and I'm about to open up my shop, so
Hell yeah,
relatable. DMX 20 years later, he's still relatable, my dude.
Yeah, but I'll also say that JoJo is still relevant and will be for a while.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get into it. I'm very excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah, because the first 2 parts are not my vibes, but 3rd and on are I've seen a little bit of each. They are my vibes. So
hell yeah.
I'm going to dive on in.
Yeah, if I had my year of the Gundam, then this needs to be your year of the JoJo.
Yeah, well, I guess like I said it when we first started our podcast last year, I was like, I'm going to get into JoJo. That's what I'm going to be watching this year. And I literally did not watch any JoJo this last year. But this year, for sure. For sure.
So in another anime news item, the Attack on Titan manga has finished.
Has anyone read it?
I have read it.
Oh, no spoilies, Dan. We know you're really good at that.
Is your mind blown, or are you feeling?
Well, have you guys seen that there is a large fan outcry about the ending?
I have noticed.
Oh,
a little bit on the Twitter.
Like Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Oh, geez.
There's a lot of parallel to Game
Did
of
you
Thrones.
just spoil it?
No, because
Okay.
I'm saying the quality is parallel.
Oh, okay.
In the opinions of some people.
Oh, okay, because the manga and you're paralleling the manga of Attack on Titan to the books of Game of Thrones.
No.
Oh.
To the TV show. The way the TV show had the worst ending in recent history.
Oh no.
There are people that say the Attack on Titan ending is the worst possible ending.
Oh shit.
And kind of backwards destroys the series in the same way that the Game of Thrones TV ending kind of backwards destroys the series.
Oh no.
And I understand why people feel that way. Personally, I disagree. I disagree on kind of.
You know what? You've been 10 out of 10 and you've been 12 out of 10 in this for the past few months now. So I don't know if I can take your opinion to heart.
Well,
I think you're just an AOT fanboy over there.
No.
You got those crystal sparkly eyes.
A little bit of that, but no. The ending is not good, but I just don't think it's definitely not good, but I don't think it's as bad as people make it out to be.
Okay.
I certainly don't think it's as bad as the Game of Thrones ending.
Okay.
And
Okay.
while I recognize why this ending is not good and how it could have been better, I also see why the author wrote it this way. Like I think I understand kind of the line of logic as to why he thought these were good decisions. I just disagree with them.
Yeah, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, I guess you could say, maybe in this opinion, or in this case. Because I think, there's too many instances where people judge the entirety by like one, I don't know, a chapter or a book or whatever it may be, in TV, any medium, and then they criticize the hell out of it because of that one thing. It's like, well, what? Didn't you enjoy the ride? I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe not. I'll be. I don't know if I'll be reading the manga. I kind of just, after the last episode, I've just sort of dissociated from the work.
Kind of the same. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Bye, Attack on Titan. Until next time.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'll be watching something else.
Yeah.
In the meantime.
So what we'll be watching in the meantime is the Demon Slayer movie. That's our third piece of news. Demon Slayer movie tickets on sale now. We all bought them.
I got my Demon Slayer blankie on today.
Oh shit!
Hell yeah!
If you haven't bought tickets by now, you probably
they ain't there.
You ain't bought tickets. They ain't there.
Especially in IMAX. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Violent Evergarden movie came out, but we didn't really care about that.
We don't care about a Violet Evergarden.
I want to watch that show.
I watched the first season, and I will say it is a spectacle of animation. They put so much time and care into animating certain parts that it is especially for a 12 episode like anime that airs on TV. The animation is amazing. I just didn't care so much for the story.
Yeah, I watched the story, or I watched the
You watched the story.
I watched the story. It was nice story. Yeah, it was. So I watched the series. I thought it was solid, but it didn't really hit me. Didn't resonate with me that much. I was kind of on the fence about going to see the movie, but in these Corona times, I decided not to go.
No, we gotta save our Corona trips for very specific, willing to die for animes.
Yeah.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be vaccinated by the time Demon Slayer comes around.
Oh, nice. We are gonna be almost vaccinated by the time Demon Slayer comes out.
Hell yeah.
Me and Jeffrey got our shots this week.
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
1 down, 2 to go.
1 down, baby.
Or 1 to go.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
What was your guys' experience like?
I had to wait in a line as long as Otakon. Except for there was no happy ending. I didn't get to see any cosplayers, but I did get harassed on the outside. So, full circle Otakon experience.
Yeah, you had your anti-vaxxer out there yelling at you.
Yes, he was yelling at everyone.
Really?
He was like going up to people and like almost touching them and being like, ma'am, you should not get vaccinated. You don't know what's in that. Like, it was insane. And like I could hear him for like 20 minutes just like carrying on in the line outside of the convention center. And then all of a sudden you see like the police just like run in behind in the opposite direction. And I was like, okay, yeah, now they're getting him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he was like, fuck masks. I don't have to wear a fucking mask. I'm a spiritual being.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild. I'm sorry that happened to you, but also I'm kind of jealous. I wish I could witness this kind of lunacy.
It was crazy. I was just hoping that he didn't like look me in the face because he wasn't wearing a mask either.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was getting pretty close to people. And I was about to be like, if you give me Corona right before I get my vaccination, I'm gonna be pissed.
Yeah.
That was the complete opposite of mine and Steve's experience. We just walked into the damn place, stood in line. I stood in line for like 5 to 10 minutes, got my shot, and then sat down for 15. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was great. Opening day. Well, it wasn't opening day. It was like the first actual game, Orioles, Camden Yards. There was what actually was terrifying about the whole experience was as soon as
Parking.
as soon as I left, there was a giant explosion, and I did one of these ducks,
Like a gas explosion?
It was fireworks from the stadium.
Oh, damn.
Shit.
Wow.
And then right after that, there was a flyover of like 4 or 3 warthogs, jets flying over above, and it was loud as shit. Sound like we're under attack. Godzilla and Kong are at it again.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh shit. Yeah, but I have my first shot coming in on Thursday this week. Wednesday, I'm going to a chiropractor. And I've never been to a chiropractor before. I've been having trouble with my shoulder. I did something, been having trouble with my shoulder for months. And then at the gym, I just randomly had this like weird shocking sensation in my shoulder. And I was like, yeah, kind of. Yeah, it was kind of like that. And I was like,
cockroach from Dorohedoro.
Yeah, I was like, yo, that's not correct. So I made him.
He said,
there's a
that is not correct.
Yeah, so there's a chiropractor that all my gym friends go to apparently. So I made an appointment with her. And then Thursday, I go to my doctor's office and get a corona vaccine.
Nice.
I have a scheduled appointment. I just walk right in and get my little vaccine.
Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, what are you doing?
Yeah, which one you did?
But Moderna, I think.
Oh, you getting the symptoms, baby.
Is that how it is?
Yeah, you're gonna need to take a day off after your second one. Mm-hmm. Both my parents got the Moderna one, and both of them experienced a lot of symptoms.
Really?
But Dan did have COVID, so maybe he's already developed
maybe
a higher immunity.
Hey.
Yeah.
We'll see. I had symptoms the first shot, so I don't know.
I just got really tired.
Yeah. Right.
Interesting.
Headache. Yeah, I had like a little headache, tired, joints, little joint pain. Was just like fell asleep on the couch.
Really?
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the second one. Anything else in the news worth noting?
No, I don't think so.
You tell me.
There's a lot of news, but it just all seems very trivial.
I really enjoyed Megan Thee Stallion's nail manicure, Demon Slayer manicure. Really enjoyed seeing that. Yeah. I would spend $1,000, as probably how much that manicure cost, to get Demon Slayer nails. Hell yeah.
Get them for the movie.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
are we gonna cosplay?
I was gonna say we need to wear either some gear or cosplay. I don't know.
At Tanjiro Saki's, I could wear my blankie.
Yeah, I only have tangential news, so we can just skip it.
Okay.
So that's a good segue into seasonal and what we've been watching anime. Because there's a lot.
There is
and
a
things
lot.
have just finished up, right?
Yeah. Actually,
it's that time of year.
Real quick, can I go to the bathroom?
No.
I gotta go.
Go.
Okay. I'm not gonna pause recording though. I'll just cut it out.
Yeah. I was gonna talk about how I rolled up on my neighbor. So somebody's been trying to break into cars outside of our building, like on our block. And they're basically, and they're not trying very hard. They're like looking for open doors to go rifling through people's cars. They definitely hit my car once, and they have hit some other people's cars in this apartment building. And yeah, I hear car alarms going off periodically, like late at night, in the middle of the night or whatever. And this is a relatively new thing, only with kind of starting in the fall and the winter did this start happening. And so I've become a lot more attuned to it. And the other day, car alarm went off, and I looked out my window, and I saw that there was somebody like in the car where the car alarm was going off, like going through the front seat. And I was like, oh shit, motherfucker, it's on. And I just like ran outside, like, ready. Granted, I'm just in boxers, a t-shirt, and my slippers, but I like just bolted outside. And then I saw the guy he was taking bags out of his car and putting him in the trunk. And I was like, all right, that's probably not a thief. I don't know why a thief would be taking bags out of the car and putting them in the trunk. I mean, that is clearly just somebody whose car alarm went off by accident. But I kind of like ran up anyway and was just like, because I was like kind of like, adrenaline, I was like kind of huffy and puffy. But it turned out it was somebody that lives, one of the new people that moved in diagonal to me. And I was like, yeah, people have been trying to break into cars. And so I'm just like hyper attuned to it at this point. So, but, just make sure you lock up your car, because I swear to God, people are trying to break in. And, it's like somebody's trying to. Because I had, just like a little awkward yet polite conversation with this guy about why exactly I just ran up on him in my boxers and slippers.
Yeah, I see people. My old neighborhood, I would see people walking up and down, like just jiggling the handles. Sometimes I think it's better just to have your door unlocked, so you don't fucking break your window.
Yeah,
Whoever
yeah.
made it.
It depends.
Depends, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what we all been watching?
I am halfway through Yu Yu Hakusho and halfway through Pat Labor, the TV show.
Nice. You stuck with your Yu Yu Hakusho.
I have. Well, I guess I'm more than halfway. I'm meaningfully more than halfway on it through each of these things. Yu Yu Hakusho, I'm on episode like 82.
Damn.
Pat Labor, I'm on episode 38, 28, something like that. 28 maybe, 29, 30. And yeah, Yu Yu is good, but I strongly prefer Hunter x Hunter.
Oh,
it's not even close.
Strongly Earthworm.
Strongly prefer
Earthworm. He said strongly.
Yeah, Yu Yu is good and entertaining, but it is more interesting to me in the ways that it reflects Hunter x Hunter than it is on its own merits. I don't think I'll ever feel like coming back and rewatching it. And Pat Labor also, yeah, entertaining and good. I don't see myself really going to revisit it, but it is, yeah, it is a joyful little slice of my day to sit and watch Pat Labor at lunch every day. It is like a nice, heartwarming show. I love the hints of romantic tension. It's like not too much, not too little, just enough to make it feel like kind of realistic. Yeah.
You don't have to invest a lot into that show. I think that's why I like it a lot.
Yeah, truth. Yeah.
The main characters' names for the most part, and they don't really. It's kind of like, they don't introduce a whole lot of side characters. I mean, if they do, they're just sort of tangential, or like they're.
Yeah.
Who cares?
And it's got a hint of an overarching plot, but for the most part, it's relatively episodic.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some really great moments, like Oda giving the salute to Kanuka when she's leaving to go back to America. I thought that that had me tear up a little bit. Or all the times that Asuma and Noah go out on dates, and it's like kind of that romantic tension is like that stuff really warms my heart.
Nice.
Captain Goto, also just in general warms my heart. Anybody watching anything that's not 20 to 30 years old?
Yeah, I think both of us are. Do you want to go first?
Oh, I got a lot. So here we go.
Yeah.
So I think by the time this episode comes out, the seasonal episode for Otaku Melancholy will probably be out. So if you guys want to hear me talk about seasonal anime with them on their podcast. Go ahead and check that out. But so I have watched obviously The Promised Neverland season 2, and I'm still pissed about it. Even with the ending, I'm so pissed about it. Like so much anger.
Yeah, I watched the Mother's Basement guy commentate about it. It seems really bad.
Yeah, even Earthworm was ranting about it in their sort of seasonal episode that came out this week or whatever. But yeah, so much anger because I've never been this was actually the first series that made me want to watch or to read the manga. So like I watched the first season of the anime and I was like, this shit is lit, bro. Like I'm gonna go read the manga. I cannot wait for the second season of the anime. I can't wait at all. So I was extremely invested in this franchise. And I'm extremely angry. But other than that, I've been watching Horimiya. Yeah, everyone's been talking about it. That disappointed me. Did y'all watch Stone Wars?
Yes.
I actually really liked this season. Not as much as the first season because I feel like the first season had a lot of emotional moments that were really hard hitting for me. And this was more like, oh, we've got to go do the thing. And here's the thing. And now it's done. Yay. On to the next. But I enjoyed watching it week to week. So.
Yeah, it did feel sped up. It was like all the exposition parts that you are used to in the first season are kind of gone.
Mm-hmm.
But you know the characters and you know what they're capable of. So all that's put away, then you just like fast forward,
Yeah.
level up every episode.
I feel like they explained less of the science this time, which I think was a core factor in what made the first season so iconic because you were kind of learning along with them. Whereas like in the second season, they're like, oh yeah, we need a wheel. Bam, here's a wheel. Oh yeah, we need this tank. Bam, here's the tank. Did it. Like there wasn't any like real explanation. You didn't spend time with the characters, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure the first season was 24 episodes, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was longer for sure. And this one was only 11 episodes. So yeah. So you could kind of gauge how much time they're going to spend explaining things, but yeah, I've been watching Jobless Reincarnation. That one's pretty good. Enjoy that one. Yeah, first season of Dr. Stone was 24 episodes.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to fact check myself because also been watching Skate. I know, Geoff, that forever ago, I feel like it feels like you were talking about the first episode and how it didn't really grip you, but I watched the whole thing. I literally just finished it last night or this morning before I record and I went out skating and I sprained my ankle and so I'm a little indisposed right now. It looks so bad. Like, my ankle looks like it has a tennis ball inside of it.
Yeah, all you can do now is luge.
Literally, Steven was like, you should probably just like, why don't you just like skate on your knees home? No.
Where were you?
We were at Druid Hill Park.
Oh, okay.
We met up with some friends and we were chilling, and it was some kind of like crazy car show night because there were so many like souped up like racing cars.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it was. They're all blasting music and like
nice.
They all had LED lights on the bottoms and on the rims and stuff like that. Like, I don't know what it is about Saturday nights. Maybe it's like a car meetup or something because this happened last Saturday night too. Last Saturday weekend, whatever. Lots of car people blasting music, hanging out.
All Initial D fans.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to go.
Yeah. So this time I was like, let me bring my skateboard. It's a nice, beautiful day. And I've been watching Skate and I've been getting back into it. And then I tried to do a kickflip and I fell. And I literally fell and like my ankle went backwards.
Ugh.
Yeah. And I have an elbow My elbow got scraped up too.
Oh yeah, I see it.
That one hurts the most, actually. But there's like skin hanging off and stuff. But you know what? Part of the game. I was trying to be Langa, but I was just a Reiki.
Yeah, that so does it gets better as it goes? Yeah.
I actually really enjoyed it. I think the character development between Reiki and Langa is extremely relatable, and I feel like anyone who's done any kind of like sport like that, where I mean anything really, there's always going to be someone that's better than you, and you're always going to have to like work harder to either match them or just accept that you are not as good as them, but can bring your own spin onto like whatever you're doing. And I feel like it gets so relatable and so good. And it's actually, I don't want to say it's my favorite because Wonder Egg is probably my favorite out of the season, but it's up there. It's up pretty high on my list for the end of the season. I like really, now that it's over, I'm like, man, I kind of want a whole second season. Like I could watch more of this show. I could watch more of these characters like doing their thing. And the music in it is really good.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of if you like pop punk, which I do. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes it sound cool. Maybe I should watch it too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's actually like it's got pretty heavy yaoi vibes though. They're like trying to be yaoi but not.
Yeah, I was getting banana fish vibes from the character designs and sort of their interactions.
Yeah, I totally ship Reiki and Langa together. I'm pretty sure that they were dating this whole time. They were dating without saying that they were dating, because at one point Langa's mom is talking to him about like what you should do in this certain situation, and Langa makes it seem like he's in a relationship with a girl, and she's like, oh yeah, with a girl, and he's like blushing, but he's really talking about Reiki, and I'm like, hey, y'all are dating. I see you. But I think my favorite out of the season was bottom tier character Tomozaki-kun. And that's about a guy who's like really like socially inept, but he's really, really good at this Smash Bros. Like spin-off game. And he's always in competition with the second player, and they decide to like meet up in real life to see who each other are. And it's actually like the most popular girl in his school, and she's like disgusted at the fact that he's like this loser dude, and she thought that he would be like someone more magnificent. So she undertakes him to change the way he is so that he's not a bottom tier character in the game of life. And she like gives him all these things that he has to do, like he's got to like talk to 3 girls that he doesn't know, and she has to like, she's like kind of like making him into a better person. But then by the end of it, he's kind of like, well, I keep doing all these things, but do I like the things that I'm even doing? Like I kind of want to make decisions for myself now. So that one is probably my favorite. I don't know. Yeah.
It's kind of giving me high score girl vibes a little bit.
Yeah. Except for with older people instead of like middle schoolers. So like, I don't know. There's it like High Score Girl has a lot of like romantic things in it that are pretty juvenile, whereas like this one has somewhat romantic things in it that are kind of like heavy hitting. To me, at least, I think they're a little heavy hitting, but yeah, I could go on. So Jeffrey, what are you watching?
Yeah, so this I'm trying to put some more effort into some more seasonal stuff as it comes out, versus like, all right, the last season's done, now I'm gonna catch up.
You mentioned that. I feel like at the beginning of the year, you were like, I want to be more aware of what's coming out.
Yeah, even if that's just watching a few episodes of something that's just come out. Like, so I randomly chose on Friday to watch Super Cub, which I don't know anything about. I just like the cover of it because there's this girl, high school girl, on top of a classic it's called a Honda Cub, basically. It's the most popular selling models of motorcycles in Japan. It's sold over 100 million models since its debut in 1958. And like this girl is just slice of life, getting ready for school in the morning. You know, she's got the rice cooker on, Pums on in the morning. She gets up, she puts the rice in her little container, and you know, chooses a selection of curry to put on it, you know, for the day. And this is all in like the first 5 to 8 minutes of the show. It's just her getting ready and going to school. So like, I don't know, like I enjoy that sort of mundane episode, or at least within live action. I enjoy that kind of stuff. But if it's done right, it can be done really well. And then she just literally just buys a motorcycle. She just like has this epiphany, like, I want a motorcycle. Tied her riding my bicycle to work to school. And she finds this this motorcycle for 10,000 or 100,000 yen, which is like what?
10,000?
10,000?
1,000
US dollars?
$1,000.
Okay, so that's pretty cheap. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're in high school, I don't know, that seems like a lot of money. But because the reason why it's so cheap is because 3 people have died using the motorcycle. And then
is it a cursed motorcycle?
Yeah, that's right. That's the big question. And then she learns to ride it. It seems like within a day. She's like, well, I got to get a license to drive this thing. And then she comes back to the store with her license. And
isn't it really hard to get a license in Japan?
I don't know.
License is different for motorcycles.
I think it is different.
Because it's very difficult to get your driver's license in Japan.
Yeah, our rich guy from Agretsuko could never do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. One episode in, I'm still thinking about it, which is really strange. Because it's like kind of moe, but not. There's not fan service. There's not like any panty shots. It's just slice of life with a cute girl so far. And I think she starts this club with 2 other girls. We'll see. It's based on a light novel. I also there's a series that I have watched and own. It's Battle Athletes Victory. And that's going back in times, 96 and a 97 show. I don't even remember why or how I bought the tapes, but I have them, and they were enjoyable for what they were at the time. But they've remade the show. It's called Battle Athletes Victory Restart, and it takes place. Misato?
Yeah.
Oh, Restarto.
Yeah.
Okay. What's up with all the restarts and read this, read that?
Because I guess when you are Zombieland Saga's 2nd season is coming out, and it's called Zombieland Saga Revenge.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know, cute. It's cute. It's a cute way to say we're doing it again.
Yeah, nothing special here. I watched one episode of it, and
if you are thinking about watching a couple seasonals, there is a mech show coming out called 86, if that's on your radar.
Yeah, that's on my radar as well. You mentioned it, and then I scrolling through Mal, I definitely, it seemed intriguing based on the cover and the description synopsis. And of course, Megalobox season 2, Nomad.
I gotta get on that show.
Yeah, y'all watched the first season, right? Both of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna rewatch the first season though.
And then Dan, there's a new anime coming out from Trigger, set in the Gridman universe.
Oh yeah, I gotta get hip to SSSS Gridman.
Yeah, I really liked Gridman.
Yeah, shit.
So I hope I really like the Nanazon. How the fuck you say this?
I think it's Dynazenon.
Dynazenon. Okay.
That's how I want to pronounce it, but I have no idea.
He has no idea.
Looks like different characters, right?
I know this one boy on the cover, he's got a crop top on,
I did watch an episode of this.
See, I was like trying to squeeze in the rest of my seasonals before I started any of the new ones because all the new ones started this week. Like I can't, or to like if
there's so much.
I'm gonna be talking about Tokyo Revengers, y'all. So just get ready. So if in case you guys want to watch it along with me.
Yeah, that does look good. Tokyo Revengers.
I'm so excited. I hope they don't bomb it like fucking Promise Neverland. I'll be pissed.
And My Hero started with a fucking filler episode.
Yeah, but isn't that their style?
It shouldn't be.
Because didn't they have previous seasons that also started with a filler episode?
Maybe if it did, it didn't feel like it. It felt like it belonged. This one did not feel.
In the last episode, didn't you say that My Hero Academia didn't have filler, Dan?
Yeah, it doesn't in the same way that Naruto and Bleach does.
Okay.
Yeah, there's not like
there's a difference between having a filler episode versus filler arcs.
Okay.
Godzilla versus Kong just came out last week, and there is a Godzilla. It's called Godzilla SP series that I'm interested in. By Bones.
It looks cute, but I don't think I'll watch it. Like I like the art for it, but I don't think I'll watch it.
If it has Godzilla in the name title, I'm watching that shit. It doesn't matter what it is. I thought there was another show that looked interesting. For whatever reason, this season seems like it's got more sci-fi stuff in it, but maybe that's every season. I'm just unaware.
To Your Eternity is supposed to be really good. It is based off of a manga. If you want sci-fi stuff. It's a lot of fantasy, I feel like. There's like it's either like slice of life, like there's like Don't Bully Me, Nagatoro-san. There's this one called like I Shaved and then I Brought a High School Girl Home. And like there's another one about love. I don't know. There's a lot of like it feels like a pretty mixed bag to me.
Okay.
Yeah. There's not as many second seasons as there were last season, which is good, I think is good because I don't the ones that are airing this season I don't need to keep up with, whereas like last season it was like Re:Zero, Promise Neverland, Dr. Stone, lots of other ones that I like don't actually even keep up with. So
I'm also interested in The Princess of Snow and Blood, Joran. It takes place in the Meiji era. Like my samurai stuff. I think it looks like it's based off of Lady Snowblood, the live action samurai films.
Really?
Just based on the fact that the fact that it's just called Snow and Blood, like, and there's a woman on the front with a white kimono.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck yeah, she's gonna slice some dicks off, right? Blood in the snow.
Oh yeah, the famous Kill Bill scene.
Yeah, that's where it gets it from. That's where it's influenced from.
Oh damn, perfect. I got that reference.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, the audience might not have.
Oh, there you go. I spelled it out for you.
Yeah, so there's a lot.
Netflix has already butchered another manga series that I was reading. Pissed about that too.
Yeah, we got to talk about that at least a little bit.
Which one?
The Way of the House Husband.
Oh, is it really that bad?
It's really that bad.
Because there was somebody, maybe it was the Super Eye Patch Wolf was talking about how great it was, and it seemed extremely appealing.
The manga is good. It's a gag. Oh my god, it's a gag manga.
Yeah. About
a retired Yakuza boss who is turned into a house husband, and it's really cute. And I really love his wife. His wife is super cute, and she loves anime and otaku stuff. And she likes this franchise called Polycore, which is basically just like Pretty Cure, but the manga version. And it's really funny. He's really funny. Anything that he's like talking about, he's like, oh yeah, I got the white powder, where's the goods? You got the goods. And he makes it sound like he's doing like a drug dealer or the Yakuza stuff. And it's really funny, but the anime is literally just colored manga panels with like the like crazy like wind lines, or like, what are those lines called in anime, where the fast lines, where it makes it look like it's moving fast, but it's not.
Motion, almost like a motion.
Yes.
Line.
So it's just like colored manga panels. Sometimes their mouths move on time, sometimes they don't. And it's basically like, and it's only 5 episodes.
I was reading that the producer of the anime wanted the director to do this. That was a direct, basically order. Like, you need to make it limited animation. Whereas
I
the
think
director did not want
fired.
it. Well, he's producing the show, so I mean, what he says goes.
Ew.
It's like if Miyazaki was like, "You need to fucking do this," which is what he does. He tells everyone what exactly he wants, even though he doesn't necessarily produce. But I didn't actually watch the show, so I can't speak for it. But I watched enough of the previews to understand that, like, it's just mouths moving and a lot of motion lines. And I mean, I feel like it could work, but you don't think it does it justice?
It could work if they did it in a way that made it artistic, but it literally is just manga panels recreated, which sucks because the manga is drawn with so much more detail than the anime. It would be different if you were like, oh, if we're going to animate manga panels, and if we're just gonna like copy paste them on there, why not just like find a way to artistically color the already made manga panels? You know what I mean? Like that would have been cool. But yeah, no.
Overall disappointment from the anime community, huh?
Netflix, you done fucked up. Cause like he has in the manga, he has so much like character to the drawings. Like you can really feel his like stare when he's like staring at you all weirdly, like he's gonna kill you, but he's just like making you a bento box. It's like the manga's just so cool. Let's drop the ball.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah,
for sure. Okay. Well,
too bad.
I know. Tant pis pour toi.
All right, so we gotta jump into the review.
Let's talk about my favorite anime of the season. The
Wonder Egg priority.
The wonderful egg that is of the utmost priority.
Our top priority is a very wonderful egg.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be the sore thumb out.
Oh shit!
Oh boy, I knew it.
Starting out hard. He's starting out hard.
It was good, and I liked it.
I think you will change your mind when we start talking about it.
Okay, well, let's
roundtable it. Let's just get our opinions.
So yeah,
out the gate.
I went into it knowing literally nothing about it. We were just decided to watch this for the podcast, and I thought, yeah, sure. And I thought that it was the theme and symbolism, the way that it portrayed kind of the struggles of young people and the way that people grapple with trauma, I thought was really interesting and really poignant. And so I thought the kind of the thematic aspects was the strongest part. I thought the storytelling sometimes was really good, but other times was so clunky, and I didn't understand why there were so many like this. What was the point of having a filler episode when this show so desperately needs like 1 to 2 more episodes to finish?
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But I also I kind of wonder if that is a misinterpretation of what the show is trying to tell us. Like, is the show not actually about the plot, but just about the emotion of people learning how to, grapple with their own problems and how to save themselves, as it were? So I'm willing to believe that the show should not be viewed as something that should make sense, but should be viewed as more of an emotional work. In the same way that like Evangelion arguably doesn't make that much sense, although it actually does, or Eureka 7 arguably doesn't make that much sense, because these are like, supposed to be about the emotion more so than the logic. So I'm willing to view Wonder Egg Priority through that lens.
It's funny that you make an Evangelion reference when one of the characters is like almost exactly like Asuka.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I also, I guess at the end of the day, so Hannah was kind of half watching this. She was intermittently watching this with me, and she was very like, oh, it's so amazing to see an anime that's just about, girl friendships. And I don't know. I guess it just made me feel like, I don't know, man. Like, to me, this seems like, isn't this just Madoka Magica? Like,
oh,
I
good
felt like
reference there, Dan. You're hitting them all, but you're just like not getting it.
Yeah, well, I felt like, yeah, this is a great show in the vein of like Madoka Magica, Flip Flappers, Review Starlight, like, which are all like great shows, but at the end of the day, this stuff just doesn't really emotionally resonate with me. Madoka Magica I like because of its like weird, the kind of like weird nihilism involved in it, but otherwise these shows, like, I recognize that they are great in their different ways, but it just doesn't really, like, when we think of what are the things that I'm into, where we had an episode where we specifically talk about the different things that we're each into. Shows like Wonder Egg Priority just don't really hit any of those particular niches. So that's all right.
Well, we did talk about Promise Neverland and how they fucked up the last season. And this is a Cloverworks animation as well. So is Darling in the Franxx. I think it's important to mention those two because they've kind of they've left bad taste in people's mouths, it seems like.
I think it's specifically with the company itself. I'm shouting you out, Cloverworks.
Cloverworks does not know how to successfully end a story.
I don't know if it's about knowing or not. I think it's about making money for them. And I think they don't care about production if they can get the anime out on time and make the money from it.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about being an original animation.
Yes. This production. So I thoroughly enjoyed this anime. I think it hit really hard for me. And I think if you don't relate with this anime, like, you've had a really easy life. Like, good for you, man. Like, hell yeah. I would love to be you. but it tackles like really heavy themes that aren't usually told in anime, especially themes of suicide, because of how high the suicide rate in Japan is. And I feel like most people don't want to highlight the worst part about like something, whereas this one does it in a really cool way, like really surreal. And I think that a lot of the the emotion that you get from this when you're watching isn't necessarily said, and it doesn't necessarily have to be said. It just leaves you thinking about things. And that's why I really liked it. Not to mention, like, the production on this was fucked from the beginning. Like, this is a group of animators who are rookie animators, and this was their passion project.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. This was their passion project. So they only have a small crew working on this. And if you notice, like, the episode directors are usually the same for every episode, or like, you know, they rotate. It's a small rotation who's like directing these episodes. And the reason why they had a filler episode or a recap episode was because they missed broadcast for that week. Mm-hmm. And they didn't get their time slot back. Yeah.
Word.
Which is also why there's a 13th episode coming out, where like episode 12 did not feel complete. The story didn't feel complete, and it left the characters off in a very like heightened sense of their development, which we didn't get resolution for, but we will have to wait until I think June is when it's coming out, when it's an OVA. So hopefully it's like a longer episode that kind of like wraps up the series and like explains everything that's going on.
Right. So that was kind of my assumption after finishing it last night was, I guess the episode 13 special is supposed to be the end of the show.
Yeah. And one of the animators or directors, or one of the person on staff, literally like went to the hospital because of like overwork, and just like came back 5 hours later to like get the episode out on time.
Yeah,
like,
I heard about that.
Yeah. So like these people are putting their everything into this anime to make it everything that they want it to be, specifically so that, you know, they could come out really strong and like get jobs after, because they worked on something so strong, which I feel like definitely they accomplished that. I know that we haven't seen the last episode and it could shit the bed, but as far as the 12 episodes that I've seen, I'm not happy about the recap, but I understand, you know, a couple, I feel like a couple of anime this season had recap episodes that were unexpected because of production. Like Skate had one. And then, you know, there's the production issues for Attack on Titan where they like push back so that we could have the 2 episodes kind of thing. You know, I feel like the theme of this season was, oh shit, what do we do? 'Cause we don't have enough time. You know, Mappa's struggling to put out AOT. Skate has a recap episode. Promise Neverland has a recap episode on episode 4. Like, what?
I didn't hate the episode recap, but I just generally liked the show. And I think because I didn't completely understand the narrative, or at least maybe that was the point, I liked having the recap, so I didn't have to rewatch the show. But that's just me. But overall, I think, I'm a huge fan of the show, and it stands out in my mind as one of the strongest shows, probably in the that probably will be in this decade.
Really?
Like Azukin. I think Azukin is they're 2 completely different shows, but I think they embody the same energy and sort of like, this is the renaissance, or so to speak, of like what anime TV can do in you know, like a modern sense,
these are anime that are airing on TV. Like if you go back and look at some of the animation in the first episode, like you were talking earlier about the girl in the beginning of Super Cub, where they're animating like mundane everyday tasks, but they're animating it with such detail that it shines a little bit of light on those mundane tasks. Like I know I don't know if it was the first episode or what, but the statue was crying in Wonder Egg, and that animation was so beautiful that it like invoked emotion. You didn't even have to say anything, just watching this like semi-alive statue like cry was like impactful.
I I think Shinkai has a lot to do with this level of detail that like one person can produce, high production art, background art, and now just finding its way in TV shows. And as far as like the emotional impact, I think like I'm rewatching Demon Slayer, and the reason why I liked it so much was because of the emotional impact of the music and the scenes, how they play out together. And like if I feel that weight of the scenes, then like I'm more drawn to that show. It's going to resonate more with me. And I think the show does that a lot more than some of the stuff that's been coming out, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. I think it stands out specifically in this season as having a lot of emotional resonance. And you mentioned Aizoken, and these anime, I like, they are very similar in a sense of like, you can tell that these people who are working on these shows love what they do and they're doing it to the best of their ability.
Yeah, well, I also think that these shows are good examples of a kind of litmus test of anime, which insofar as is it a story that can only be told through animation? Is it a story that could also be told through live action, in which case, what is really the added value of animating it? And I realize that this is in some ways kind of a meaningless litmus test, because there are a lot of shows that I love so much that could easily be live action shows. But yeah, Aizoken, I think, is a story that can really only be told through animation to realize its full potential. I realize there's a live action adaptation, but I just don't see how that can really hit the same kind of wavelength. In the same way, yeah, Wonder Egg Priority, you could only tell a story like this through animation. There's no way you could tell it in a live action setting. It just doesn't work.
Do you think that goes with Satoshi Kon work?
Yes.
Because I keep that was the first thing I thought about when I watched the first episode of this was Paprika. And I think that parallel was what drew me in and kept me watching, even though it didn't end necessarily that way. Maybe it's not as strong as some of his work, but
I mean, you can tell that the people who worked on this love Satoshi Kon. Like there are a few animation sequences where I'm just like, yay, I know what you try to do and I like it. I see you.
Yeah, and it makes sense to me that this is somebody's passion project, as you describe it, Amelia, because as you say, it does deal with a lot of subject matter and themes, relating to teen suicide, relating to trauma, relating to gender identity and sex identity, which are topics that are not normally covered in anime, and certainly not in this level of depth and attention to detail and this level of articulation. So I think that only comes when you have someone with a very clear-cut vision that knows exactly what they want to say, and they have the ability to say it without having managers and producers and all these other people be like, well, it's just not commercially viable to have a story about that.
Yeah, one of the most successful movies to come out was in the last 5 years was I want to say Voice of a Distant Star. What's the Whisper of the Heart? No, what the fuck is it called?
That's an old one.
Yeah,
Your name?
No, oh my god, I was just talking about it. A Silent Voice. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
A Silent Voice. Hell
yeah.
And they similar themes in growing up in childhood with being bullied and picked on. I think without that movie, perhaps this show wouldn't have been made, or kind of paved the way for it to be made.
I mean, that would, yeah, I definitely
just a
feel
theory.
that. For sure.
So I think we should get into detail and just start spoiling stuff for those who want to know, actually have watched the show. Because the plot it's like, It seems complex, but maybe it's not. You know what I mean? On
Mhm.
paper, it does. This, in general, if you were to describe the show, I think it would be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I feel like that's also kind of describing any Satoshi Kon work as well. In a general sense, I feel like the show is a surreal deconstruction of the magical girl genre. There we go.
Hey, if that's
Which is
what,
really
that's a good
funny
breakdown.
why you compared it to Madoka Magica, because that one is also a deconstruction of the magical girl genre. Like these
Yeah.
girls are fighting their trauma in the form of demons in a surreal dreamlike world to kind of repent on what happened and their actions that led their friends that way. Did that make sense? That was a sentence, right?
Yeah, but I think yeah, and I from after episode 1, I was like, oh, so this is just like Madoka Magica. Okay, yeah, I understand. But I also think that Madoka, like I think the show is significantly more thematically pointed and more, well, maybe that's not the right way of saying it. It's more thematically realistic insofar as it grapples with more applied and practical struggles that people have in real life compared to Madoka Magica, which is, I think, more not exactly abstract, but like is a more broad sense of like the power of friendship in, oh, we've been taken advantage of by these strange aliens, you know, and it's like more not tropey, but more like anime-y in comparison to Wonder Egg Priority, which is really like grappling with problems that people cope with on a daily basis all around the world. You know, it's like it's instantly relatable and understandable in a way that Madoka Magica never really gets to. And in that way, I also started to wonder if Wonder Egg Priority qualified as a magical girl show, because maybe this is just my own ignorance about magical girls as a concept, because I wasn't sure if these girls really like, do they count as magical girls? Are they technically not magical girls?
Well, that's why it's a deconstruction.
Oh, okay. Did you ever see Flip Flappers?
No, but I've seen lots of magical girl shows.
I'm curious what you would think about Flip Flappers and how that fits to Wonder Egg Priority as well.
I've heard them compared as in like the endings are bad.
Word.
But that's all I've heard. But Flip Flappers was an original as well, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And it also features girls with a strong friendship going through many dimensions to fight abstract enemies to gain, you know, these like little trinkets that we're not totally clear what exactly they're gaining or why.
AWO does a pretty good podcast on that show. I still haven't watched it, but it's on my list. But yeah, I think it's sort of genre wise. I mean, it's obviously drama, it's fantasy, it's psychological thriller. You know, it's like a mash. It's a really huge mashup. There's sci-fi elements even, which I thought was really intriguing towards the end.
Oh, with what's her name? Frill.
Yeah, and the introduction of Frill and that, and I like everything was making sense to me up until
that's where the anime logic comes in. That's where if you've watched enough newer anime, there's some anime logic happening here that you kind of just got to put on the back burner a little bit, Dan. Don't take things so literal.
Yeah, and that's where I really felt like, yeah, we need 1 or 2 more episodes to really smooth out. Like, I understand where Frill fits in the story, but what was the point of including any of that? If this was truly if episode 12 was truly supposed to be the end, then you could successfully tell the story without Frill, and it would be significantly more cohesive and understandable. So episode 13 has to deal with some kind of final confrontation between Oto and Frill. It's got to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The general idea of the show is simply like these girls trying to figure out how to save their closest friend, or like someone who's committed suicide, or who's had taken their own life, essentially. And these wonder eggs are like their way of rebirthing their friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they are able to do this through the eggs that come out of the I guess they're gashapon boxes.
Mm-hmm.
You put money in and you get the little egg. But then they meet these two characters, Aka or Akra, if I pronounce that right.
Aka and Uraka.
Uraka. Yeah, and they're just a bunch of dummies. They're dummies. They're test crash dummies.
They're just a little dummy.
Yeah, that they're just sitting in the park drinking tea.
And
they're talking to these characters.
Time.
Yeah. But they, you find out they're pulling the strings. But I think like that part of it for me, it was like, okay, well, are they real? Or are they part of this cyber world? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I don't always take things so literal, in the sense that like, all right, this is what they're telling me on screen.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm supposed to know. But in my head, I'm like, well, I'm making up shit left and right.
Mm-hmm.
But
which they kind of do.
Yeah. Did you guys feel that way? Did you feel like, all right, what is this sort of cyber world, or in dream Paprika style moments that are they merging, sort of,
Yeah. So I thought there was the real world that I is living with her friend, and then there's the in between where they go and get the eggs, and then there's like the dream world, or the surreal world where they're fighting their evils.
Right.
Yeah. That's how I interpreted it too.
Mm-hmm.
And when they beat these monsters, they are able to get their friends back, essentially.
Mm-hmm. They're able to save whatever girl pops out of whatever egg.
Each of them have a loved one that commits suicide, and ostensibly they're saving other suicided individuals from other suicided girls from the trauma that drove them to commit suicide. And if they save enough girls, then their friend will come back to life. At least that's what they believe. Mm-hmm. But by the end of the show, I've kind of come to the opinion, and I'm willing to be proven wrong or told that I'm misunderstanding this, that the process of saving their loved ones is not contingent on hitting some goal number of girls that they have saved from their trauma, but is contingent on reaching a level of emotional maturity and a level of emotional insight that they are then able to address and to kind of understand and address, or I guess to understand and survive their own emotional problems and their own emotional traumas.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that we kind of see this with Momoe when she saves the trans guy and kind of comes to a new understanding of her own feelings about gender and sexuality. And we don't really see this on screen with Rika, but I think we can kind of see the progression of Rika throughout the show, that she reaches this point. And we definitely see this with Oto Ai, because she saves the parallel universe version of herself, which I gathered from online talk was perceived as being very random, but they had already introduced the idea of parallel universes several episodes prior. So I thought that just intuitively made sense.
But for me, that totally made sense, because all the other girls had people that were very specific to to their lives that they were trying to save, and the girls that popped out of the eggs bettered their understanding of their own trauma, whereas like people that were popping out weren't necessarily like helping her along with her trauma as much as her trauma was kind of based on herself, you know?
Yeah.
So
Right.
that completely made sense to me.
Yeah, sure. Interesting.
Yeah. But I think a lot of this is also, we keep like bringing up the power of friendship. And I don't think that in this one, it's super apparent that that's what is happening. But I think instead of it being like the power of friendship, I think it's more or less like saying that you can lean on other people if you need it. Like we all are dealing with all these things all the time throughout the day, trying to just get through, but it's okay to lean on like another person and not specifically like an entire group of girls. Because if you notice a bunch like I and Neru, they have like a pretty intimate relationship throughout the series. Just with understanding each other and understanding where they're coming from and helping them along with that within the group, where like Rika and Momoe also are kind of like intimate in that way. So I don't think it's more about like the group dynamic as far as it is like leaning on people that you're drawn to and that, you know, can help you, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of leaning on people, I was always perturbed by how each of the girls just left their animal alone to deal with the haters. It's like, you're really not going to help your animal?
They're
like,
supposed to. That's how they win. They're there to help them. Yeah, they're there to help them.
I know, but you know, if I had my friend who, and I'm like, all right, I need you to deal with the haters, I wouldn't, like in this context, I guess I wouldn't like just deploy my little monster and be like, all right, see ya. You know, I'd wait to make sure my monster can handle the situation. Okay, that he's gonna be all right, and then I would turn him on.
They ain't they don't make it.
Yeah, and I was kind of curious as to like, was there supposed to be a symbolism involved with Frill's siblings? So I guess they're siblings.
Oh, dot and hyphen are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Coming and killing the pets. I mean, was that specifically to...
I think that was just Frill acting out.
Yeah.
Because Frill's not nice. Frill's not a nice person.
Yeah.
Classic AI going wrong.
Yeah.
Frill's a jealous person.
Yeah, and that's going back to what you said about Asuka and sort of even Rey from Evangelion. They're kind of like a mashup of those two characters. In the sense of like, okay, you can like you can birth or you can multiply someone, though they never get there in this show. They're not like making clones of Frill necessarily, but I like to think that's a possibility.
Yeah,
if they wanted to.
So I was confused about the way that Frill drove Akka's daughter to commit suicide, which they specifically they candidly state that in show that Frill drove Akka's daughter to commit suicide, and we are supposed to see elements of this by the way Akka's daughter mimics Frill's mannerisms at the dinner table with the lip popping thing. I don't understand the mechanics of how Frill managed to accomplish this, or kind of what Frill's motivation was necessarily.
Well, Frill was essentially replaced with a real person. So
yes, so the motivation was jealousy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they've already established how jealous of a person that she is. I took Frill, like, what's her name? I took the daughters like mimicking Frill to be like the DNA that made Frill up is also in the daughter. So there's some way that she can manipulate her based on the DNA. Is that it?
So we think that the same. So when they created Frill, ostensibly
they used DNA from each other.
Right, to create Frill. And yeah, of course, Akka's daughter will share some of the DNA.
Also, like, how the fuck you make this a whole ass human? I'm sorry, but you just put some DNA in a bag and it just like blows up into a human. Like,
yeah, it's like the little sponge dinosaurs. Did you ever do those?
Oh hell yeah! Okay,
yeah.
okay,
I feel that. You just
I feel you.
Put it in the tub and then just.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Explain. That's all I needed.
Yeah, that part, that the making of the human didn't bother me. I was just like,
no, don't believe it. Moving on.
Oh, see, I thought that was one of the more easily believable parts.
Oh, really?
I guess these are just the different ways we interpret anime.
Yeah,
because it was identifiable in other things that we've seen, at least. Like, I don't know, Metropolis or whatever, and Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
You know.
So Frill and the daughter, we think, have the same mannerisms by coincidence. And in the same way that Frill is jealous and kind of seeks to be the only one, per se, the daughter, Akka's daughter, also is like vying for the attention of Uraraka because she is, just like a typified jealous, kind of selfish teenage girl. That is how we are interpreting this. Yeah. Okay. So the daughter, they if I am piecing this together correctly, the daughter commits suicide because of something that Uraraka refers to as the temptation of death. And he kind of blames Frill for manipulating the daughter into the temptation of death. And they don't specifically say what is the temptation of death, or like what do you mean by the temptation of death? What does that entail? They never spell it out, but they refer to the idea of the temptation of death multiple times throughout the show as for the reason why everyone keeps committing suicide. And yeah, I mean, the temptation of death, I mean, from my perspective, and I think what we can gather from the show is the temptation of death is to escape the traumas that are driving you to that. But what is the trauma? I'm confused about how that applies to the daughter. Like, why exactly did the daughter commit suicide? What is the trauma? What is the temptation of death here? What is Frill doing to the daughter to lead her to such a place? And I kind of understand that the show leaves this entirely open-ended, and they kind of don't seem to care what the answer is insofar as they tell you specifically, oh, Frill manipulated the daughter into the temptation of death, so she commits suicide. And you don't really need to know, like, beyond that, it's not really important.
I think Frill manipulated her into it to further traumatize Akka and Uraraka.
Yeah, so you think this was using the daughter as a pawn in order to wage a larger kind of emotional struggle against Uraraka and Uraraka?
Yeah, because they already had that rivalry in the beginning, and Frill knew that. And then one of them has a real daughter, and then the other one gets jealous. And then to take his happiness away, she takes the only thing that was left, which was his daughter.
Right.
To plunge them into this scenario where they create this world. I think maybe that's what that was. That was just explaining why they even created the world in the first place. Is because of all this trauma. So the world's built on trauma. And then you have all of these people who have all of these traumas coming into the world to kind of like fight them off and like realize things. But Akka and Uraka are like making it hard because they want other people to suffer as well. Like, I don't know what their end game is for creating this world and like making kids do this, because it seems like they're just doing it for fun.
I thought their end game was to build up the girls to a point where they can defeat Frill.
Oh, that's it?
Yes. And well, the reason I think this is because of the way they discuss the warriors of Thanatos versus the warriors of Eros. And the idea, and I don't know my Greek gods well enough to really understand the kind of symbolism here, but I'm assuming that Frill and Frill's created sibling set are the warriors of Thanatos that can only be defeated by the warriors of Eros. And isn't there a point in the last episode where Oto, however you say it, where our main character is, she calls herself a warrior of Eros, doesn't she? Like, there's a point where she says, I want to be a warrior of Eros. That's why the last episode is called the Unvanquished Warrior, because then she becomes one that is capable of fighting Frill because she has overcome her own traumas and found a way to save herself. That's different than Momoe, who is, we leave with Momoe being kind of emotionally shattered from having to grapple with her trauma, I guess.
Okay.
And Rika, they make the point, they won't even let Rika back into the halfway world. They make the point specifically, I mean, they explicitly state Rika is only out for revenge, and that's not going to work against Frill. She will just die trying to fight Frill in this state because she hasn't, she's still operating on anger rather than operating on self-love.
And Eros and Thanatos come out of Fortean essay.
Oh, okay. Word.
Yeah, that's what the origins at least are. So yeah, like you have Eros, which produces creativity, harmony, sexual connection, reproduction, and self-preservation. And then the death drive is Thanatos, which brings destruction, repetition, aggression, compulsion, and self-destruction.
So that is like Frill and Hyphen and Dot.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And we all know like Freudian ideology, like his world is always criticized. So take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good find, Geoff. I just assumed that those were Greek gods of some sort, but shows how much I know about any of this stuff.
Oh, you're better than me. I'm like, okay, Beach, whatever you say. I'm here. You gotta explain nothing to me. I'm on it. I'm just watching for the funds.
You had to dig a little for that stuff, because I was like, I didn't really completely. It didn't. When you use that as a framing for the show, then it makes a lot more sense. Like, there's a good, almost like good versus evil, but
yeah,
as a really simplified version. But I think just the way in which these traumas are conveyed, like in these monsters, that left me with one of the biggest impressions. Like, okay, you got like these really freaky looking character designs.
They are Yayoi Kusama vibes. Like, no, like I was vibing on them. The dot artist, the Japanese dot artist. Y'all know her.
Oh yes. She had an expedition in DC before, right?
Yes.
Like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, Eric and I went to that. Yeah,
someone got trapped in that, actually. But anyway, but it's kind of fitting though, because she literally went crazy from all the dots.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like a complete creative outlet in that world, like where you're fighting these monsters, and they're terrifying in my opinion. Even as an adult, I kind of find Japanese monsters to be a little bit more scary than our interpretation of what monsters are.
Yeah, they leave you they leave you thinking about things instead of like just being like, scary. You know what I mean? They're like, oh fuck, like, is something creepy crawling behind me? Instead of just being about jump scares and stuff.
Yeah, I was really struck by how blatant, how blunt a lot of these monsters were. I'm thinking of, like, for example, the old molester guy that is the first monster that Momoe fights, who's just like talking shit to that girl, like, oh, you wanted it, you wanted me to touch
Yeah,
you.
right?
Yeah,
I
it's
was
pretty
like,
intense.
whoa, fuck. That's like, oh man, that's gnarly, man. That's fucked up.
Yeah, those are like deep-seated like emotions that people had, like thoughts that people had, and he's just saying them out loud.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, in that sense, like, do you think the show is for adults? Do you think kids or children can understand these ideas through the show? Like, is it not a teaching device, but it's sort of like, it's pretty gruesome. You know what I mean? Even with the violence.
See, that's where I don't know, because I understand it because I am past trauma. You know what I mean? So like I can understand where it starts and how you get to the end, but I don't know if someone going through this and like watching this anime would be able to see what's at the end and want to get there, if you know what I mean. Because when you're dealing with trauma that is highlighted in the series, like,
be triggering, right?
it's like it could be triggering. Number one, we should probably put a trigger warning at the beginning of this video just in case. But like when you're in that trauma, you don't feel like there's any way to get out. You feel really desperate and despair, like nothing is gonna be able to help you. But I don't know. So I don't know. Like I feel like if you watch this anime, you would maybe be able to, but then I'd be like, yeah, but I don't have friends that can help me, so I'm doing this alone. So, and I don't get this dream world where I can like attack my demons. Like I just got to deal with this shit on a daily. But
do you remember when 13 Reasons Why came out on Netflix?
Yes.
And how many parents were upset and angry? Like how is this gonna like teach kids to commit suicide, or is it gonna is it gonna be triggering? Is it, what are the repercussions of having something like that on? Of course, like 13 Reasons Why is live action. It's not animated. So in an animated form, you can get away with these things, like you were saying, Dan.
There's like fantastical things that they are using to help them through this. Yeah. I don't know, because like I do feel like these are things that people deal with all the time that need to be like highlighted, and like people need to feel like connected to something that can help them. And if that's like through an anime or through a live action show, like I can see where someone would need that to feel like they aren't alone.
Yeah, I would like to get more opinions from teenagers, young adults, about how they feel about this, in a broader sense. And then is it effective? Because you can have, like, on one side, there's a scene where they show the teacher, one of the teachers, assaulting the girl. It was like episode
7.
6
or 7.
10. I'm thinking of episode 10.
Okay.
When Kaoru, the person who identifies as a boy, and is raped by the kendo teacher and becomes pregnant.
Oh yes, that one.
Like that's one of the most palpable, I guess, examples of trauma or some things that have happened to.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Young women, yeah, like that. Yeah, there's a lot of heavy stuff, and it's as a male, I don't, there's things that I can't always, or I won't be able to fully understand, but I think it's things like art that can kind of make people more empathetic. If that makes sense.
I also thought the symbolism of the Sino evils, I thought that was real powerful insofar as I think a lot of the most, or one of the more damaging aspects of trauma is the way that so many people surrounding it often try to skirt it under the rug or find any way to not grapple with it themselves or not engage with it themselves. And I think having the Sino, the little red-faced devil guys running around trying to get at these young girls, and having them specifically called the Sinos or the Sino evils, I thought that was really, really interesting and eloquent, in my opinion.
Yeah, like the Sino evils are the manifestation of other trauma.
It's the manifestation of the feeling of how people ignore, people that could otherwise help you ignore your trauma, or kind of shun you for being a victim, blame you for being a victim.
I see.
Yeah, because they see no evil. They don't want to care about it. They don't want to engage with it. They look the other direction, from your suffering, and that hurts as well.
And just like constantly following the characters through this world and chasing them. Yeah, kind of like definitely that thriller aspect that I like.
Oh man, the first person they have to fight is freaking creepy. She's like that schoolgirl with like the blurred out face, and she throws that axe and literally chops off like the person's like arm. Like that animation sequence right there, like had me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna like this one. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. What about the schoolgirl the schoolgirl monster that couldn't be seen from the girl that had an eye patch on that said that she could see monsters, but no one else was able to see them. I was expecting I was not expecting the resolution to that to be that the prayer beads were the key to seeing the monster. I thought this was going to be that I had to take explicit direction from the girl with the eye patch and just trust 100% what the girl with the eye patch was saying in order to adequately fight the monster. That like there was no way for I to see the monster and to understand the monster. She just had to trust, at face value exactly what that girl was saying as to where the monster was and what it was doing, and respond to it.
So that's actually like a Japanese horror trope. If you've seen Hellgirl, Hellgirl wears a beaded bracelet just like that, and whenever she passes through to the hell world, it always like rattles and it dings. And I think that's just like the way that you are able to see hell.
Word. Okay, interesting. So then we had the one monster that did not look like a monster.
Oh, scandalous.
Sawaki.
Yeah.
Sawaki, that was his name?
Yeah, let's talk about him, because like, who the fuck he be? Like, what is he doing? What did you guys think about him?
Refresh my memory. Loki?
Sawaki, the teacher that Ai's friend, I forget her name, Koito.
Okay.
So I thought Koito and Sawaki were in a relationship together, and she saw them after school like hugging each other while Koito was crying, and then the next day she committed suicide. And then Sawaki kind of like takes an interest in Ai and starts coming over to her house to talk to her mom. And her mom and Sawaki starts coming over a lot. I was like, this bitch is getting in this family. Like, I was like, I don't trust him at all, because now he's like taking an interest in Ai for whatever reason, because, like Koito wasn't there anymore, and seducing. I thought he was trying to seduce Ai's mom. And then I also thought that Ai actually liked him a little bit. She was like jealous of Koito and his relationship, and maybe not that she like actually had like true feelings for him, but that she wanted a connection like that, like Koito had with him. And then that's what boss was that? That was in what
This is the
episode?
last one, episode
Okay.
12.
Okay, yeah.
It's just the head floating around, right? And he's got the tubes of paint squirting.
Yeah, but then his form transforms into just being regular old dude.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I kind of comes to terms with the idea that he's not actually a monster.
I still don't trust him.
Yeah, dude.
So I actually thought the timeline of events was backwards from the way you describe it, Amelia. Insofar as I thought I had the crush on Sawaki first and was getting painted by Sawaki first. Then Koito transferred into school and stuff happened between Koito and Sawaki. And then after Koito dies, I stops going to school and Sawaki starts coming by all the time to check up on her, and then kind of like, starts falling for mom, presumably. So, and the reason I think that is a important distinction is that would mean that Ai's feelings for Sawaki were not, because Ai does explicitly say I had a crush, I was in love with Sawaki, but I think that was happening independent of Koito. I think that was happening before Koito had come to school, and then stuff between Koito and Sawaki was happening afterwards. But how much was really happening between Koito and Sawaki? Because I agree that they use imagery that is often used in anime to convey that they were having an inappropriate relationship, but we're never explicitly shown that there's an inappropriate student-teacher relationship happening. And I
were we though?
Asked,
I think like if you're taking an interest in going over to a student's house.
I actually don't think that's weird under any kind of circumstance, actually. Well,
not in Japanese culture. No, it's actually pretty common for teachers to visit students at their house.
Yeah, and if you have a student that suddenly just stops coming to class altogether for months at a time, like, you don't think you would stop by to be like,
maybe once, not every day, not all the time.
Then add in the fact that the mom is really hot,
but I don't think that mom is hot enough to do that anyway.
I think she is.
Anyway, damn, what I was gonna say, I forget. But anyway, no, but I don't think he actually liked the mom is the thing. I think that was just a reason for him to come over even more frequently.
Well, that was yeah. I mean, this is the show. The show kind of twists and turns, kind of pulls us in two different directions on this topic, because they introduced the idea early on that Sawaki had an inappropriate relationship with Kai. Wait, what was her name? Koito. That Sawaki had an inappropriate student-teacher relationship with Koito that causes Koito to commit suicide. I presumably knows this because she saw the two of them. She saw Koito and Sawaki in a tearful embrace. And then Rika brings up the idea, Sawaki's just coming over all the time just to build, keep an eye on you, make sure you're not going to tell, make sure you're not going to out him. He's going to marry your mom just so that you have your kind of loyalty torn here. You feel like you can't out him.
Yes.
Because but then the show, I think by episode 12, the show kind of points us in the other direction. And the show kind of goes back on itself and says, no, was there actually any kind of inappropriate relationship? And I can kind of surmise that there wasn't, I think, because I specifically asked Sawaki, why did Koito die? like, why did she commit suicide? And we're not given the answer to this. We don't see Sawaki's response. We just see the question. And I think we can infer that the answer was not as dark or as gruesome as we may think it is, because of the way that Ai interacts with Sawaki in episode 12, when she's kind of dealing with Sawaki being her trauma. And so far as the trauma of parallel universe Ai is that, she has this crush on Sawaki, but it's like a innocent, it's the idea that I have a child's love and adoration for you that is pristine and idealistic and not grounded in the traumas and difficulties and stresses of the adult world. And Sawaki kind of fires back in his monster form. He's like, oh, but you, like, if you grow old, then you'll realize that I am not perfect and that our relationship will never be perfect, and relationships in general aren't perfect, and the adult world is so terrible and scary, and it would just be better for you to die as a child when everything is pristine and beautiful, rather than have your innocence shattered by adulthood. And then Sawaki turns into, goes from the monster form into just his human form, as Ai grapples with the idea that this notion of the loss of innocence being kind of the end of your life and the end of positivity and joy in your life is unrealistic as well. That even if you have trauma and difficulty in your life, you can overcome this to find positive parts of your life as well and find meaning in your life as well. And so she starts to see Sawaki as just a man.
But I think that he brings up the fact that they are innocent girls as a reason for me to believe that he only likes girls that are innocent. And I think that I think that Ai realizes that her crush was just a crush because she doesn't know that much about the world, and she's like realizing that, like, oh, she didn't actually love him, she just like liked the idea of him, but he's also the person that she thinks made Koito kill herself, so she's like trying to deal with that. As like, I liked this person, and now he's like kind of infiltrating my life in these weird ways where like the damage has been done, and I've got to like figure out what to do next with it.
Right.
But that's what I thought. So I still think he's a pedophile, but I guess we'll find out in episode 13 potentially.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on this, Geoff? Do you weigh in on this one way or another?
Yeah, no, I think it's a strong possibility that my first impression was that he was a predator, and that was inferred through some of the scenes of them but it's like, okay, well, you see that scene of them embracing,
but it's through Ai's eyes.
Exactly. So it's like, it could be misconstrued as something else. We don't know ultimately. And then there's a scene where he has an art show, the art gallery, and she's in Ai's in the painting, but it's also the mother. He's managed to, I forgot how they describe it, but essentially
Ai is an adult.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, that creepy.
He was creepy. I want to rewatch that scene because I'm like,
that creepy.
What is he really getting at?
That means he had to think about Ai real hard while he was painting that. Just saying.
I guess that's the thing about art, huh?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily. I understand why it can be viewed nefariously. I didn't necessarily see it as being so nefarious in that moment, but I viewed it more as paternalistic. Yeah. Because he's in a relationship with her mom. Like, ostensibly, this is gonna, well, But
it's very there.
yeah,
It's funny
but he
because
would've
your
made
take
that
is very
painting.
literal. Like your take on it is, this is what I've seen. These are the scenes that that describe exactly what I'm talking about. Whereas like this anime is something that is up to interpretation, and I feel like
Yeah.
they make points in that, you know, with Frill, with Aka and Uraka, they make it with Ai and Rika. Like everything that these people are going through is also up for interpretation. So like I get where you're coming from, yes, but also I feel like a lot of stuff is left just for the individual who's watching to infer whatever they think, or you know, because I'm gonna assume that people that have watched this are experiencing this trauma either right now or have in the past and can relate to any number of characters. You know, so they don't. I don't think they want to specifically like state anything that'll so that people that are watching can, you know, take it in and, you know, have their trauma be helped by watching all of these people.
Right.
So
Sure enough.
Yeah. I love the move on from some plot and themes, just like the opening and closing theme songs. Thought they're really well done.
fucking nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, like this kind of like the show itself, the opening theme song is a bit melancholic at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then as it goes on, it gets a little bit more hopeful and a little more optimistic.
I really love the animation sequence that is happening, because I don't know if y'all know, but I do love it when they mix real life and rotoscoping. Like I love any kind of like weird animation, and I love that they are mixing like animation and real life in these sequences.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen does that really well in their opening and closings, especially in the second season or the second part of the series. Oh yeah,
I haven't gotten that far yet.
You better get there right now.
Uh-oh, here I go. Pachang.
Yeah, I love the character designs, as I said there already, but I like who are favorites.
I love Rika. I already ordered a hoodie from work. I'm gonna get it embroidered. I'm gonna cosplay Ai as soon as we can do the cosplay thing again. I got my blue hair ready to go. I'm gonna get it cut real short. I really, really love Rika's like weapon. I really love that it's like a half blade. That is like so cool to see in action.
Yeah, for some reason I thought it was scissors, but you're right. It's like box cutters.
Because she cuts herself.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just misinterpreted that altogether. For some reason I thought it was scissors and it was like a Kill la Kill reference. I'm wrong. Sorry. It's true. That's a good nugget of symbolism right there.
Mm-hmm. I really love when Neru changes her hair halfway through.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like she is realizing her trauma and moving past it and trying to change as a person. So she changes her hairstyle.
How is she the owner of this company? That she's that smart. She runs this company.
No, she's an artificial human. She's born genius.
Yeah, it's just
so
interesting.
While we're talking about Neru, let's talk about her friend, the white-haired girl that discovers parallel universes.
Ooh, that was a cool segment that I enjoyed. I really liked the character design too.
Yeah, that was some really interesting stuff. Would you pull the plug on your friend? I mean, I definitely would, without a doubt.
You would or wouldn't?
Would, definitely.
Okay.
Dude, if one of you guys, I mean, for better or for worse, if one of you guys was on life support and you came to me in my dream in a way that was conclusive and decisive, you know,
yeah.
But you came to me in my dream and said, pull the plug, you dumbass, I would say,
okay. All right.
That's what you want me to do.
All right. No, but like, okay. So I just like recently discovered that when you are in a coma, you are coherent and you can hear everything. You can hear people coming in and talking to you. And I don't know if I can pull the plug on my friend. if they could hear me talking to them. If I knew that, and I was like, I don't know.
I kind of feel like it's not your decision to make.
But if they wrote it in their will or wrote it in like a statement, like pull the plug on me. I don't
a living will.
Yeah, a living will or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could.
You hear stories about that people like in coma for years and years, and then family's like, what do we do? Do we pull the plug or do we?
Yes.
I don't know.
I swear, if I ever go into a coma, please put on the dubbed version of whatever new anime is coming out every season. Like, I need to know. I need someone to be on my MAL and update my list. Please. And the only reason why I say dubbed, normally I would say subbed, but I can't read, obviously, if I'm in a coma. So, but I still need to consume.
Duly noted. I'm gonna write that down.
Yes, I'm actually gonna call my guy. What about you guys? What characters do you like? What character designs do you like?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I do like Momoe's duality of, gender and whatever sexuality that she's trying to face, that she's going through. I do like her character a lot. I think as far as design wise, I'm attracted to Rika's character. Like the pink stripe of dye in her hair. I think that was really cool.
I like Rika in her her idol form. I thought that was really cute. I actually even thought, I was like, when the two that Rika has to save that have the half black and half neon green hair, I was like, maybe that's a hairstyle I should try next. Maybe that's really cool.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool.
But I'm with you, Geoff. I like Rika's design, but I don't necessarily like Rika as a character.
Yeah, she's.
It's very hard to like her.
Yeah,
it's very hard. But I guess you could argue that about Asuka Langley too. Yeah,
at least she has some redeeming qualities. Like what she's gone through with her mom, and not knowing who the father is, who her actual father is. It's like, okay, well then you draw sympathy for them. I don't know if I really drew sympathy for Asuka. Maybe I did. Yeah, they're all just they're so individualistic and in their own personalities, and I think that's what's enjoyable. They're not just super tropey characters.
They're well-rounded.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like Neru. I like her design, but I also don't like her as a character. I'm like, I can't relate to her.
Yeah, I guess I'm a Momoe fan. I would hang out with Momoe.
Hell yeah.
Really down to earth.
Yeah.
Kind of character.
Except for she got a weird ass uncle.
I felt really bad for Momoe when she went on the date and the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were a guy. I'm not interested in dating a girl."
I know, right? She looked real cute too. You could tell she was like, I'm trying really hard to do this thing that is very uncomfortable for me.
Did anyone else get Sakura vibes from Sakura Diaries?
No.
Okay. And in that scene where she's all makeup up. I kept thinking of Sakura.
Dan's like, I've already forgotten about that anime.
Garbage. Complete garbage.
Yeah, Sakura from Naruto?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this ends, where it goes, if there's going to be more. I kind of want to, if it ends well, I want it to just stop.
Yes.
Personally.
Yeah, I don't see how there could be a season 2. I think episode 13 is either it wraps it up nicely and makes the show a great show, or it just evades trying to conclude the story, and this becomes a thought, an emotional thought piece rather than a great story per se. But I don't think there's enough to it to go into a season 2.
If they did a season 2, I would hope that it was with different characters with different traumas in a different kind of setting.
With an overall arching theme or an overall arching story, like that ties in.
Yeah, like maybe the world, the like dream world or like the surrealistic world is kept the same, but it's like with different characters in different ways.
I want to know more about the Akkas or Akkas. I'm really fascinated by
pre-Wonder Egg.
Yeah, I guess I just like origin stories a lot, and prequels aren't always great, but I think but you don't want to give away too much. Like the lore is sort of what draws you in, right? If you answer too many questions, it could kind of sour it.
Yeah. Like I honestly could have done without knowing why Akka and Uraka were even making the world and in the world. I could have done without that because like the traumas and the girls, I felt like is what it was more about. And the fact that like they are trying to explain how the world came to be, I feel like could have been, you could pull that out and drop it into a different, like an origin story or something like that.
Yeah.
I was okay with not knowing.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm kind of curious by the idea of Frill interpreting Uraraka's jealousy towards Akka for getting the wife. Because I did not interpret Uraraka as being particularly jealous or inflamed by any of this. But Frill seems to think, well, no, you're just lying to yourself. Of course you're upset about it. Is that Frill projecting her own feelings?
I think that.
Amelia's winking and making a face.
We're on video now so they can see us.
Oh, what? This has been on video this whole time?
Yeah, that's what our 1 year anniversary episode was for.
But we're always on video from here on out. Oh my fucking God.
Good thing we weren't recording when your shirt was off, Dan.
Yeah. I gotta stop like fidgeting and scratching picking my nose all the time. Fucking good Lord. Okay. Notes for next time.
6 inches away from your mic and gussy up for the camera.
Don't worry, clean up. I forgot to.
Yeah, wait. You can see this trash. This is not trash. I have a new release. It's ready to go. I just have boxes of records everywhere right behind me.
Oh, actually, you know what? Same. And I will show you. I have been packing up my my shirts if I can get it. Oh.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
You got
now
new stock. You're still processing. You got to get it out the door at some point.
Yeah. Now I'm in
the same boat.
Business game.
Mm-hmm.
I worked on my website for like 8 hours yesterday, and I could have literally gone insane from writing descriptions and weighing things with a scale.
Yep.
I'm over it.
You don't just use one generic weight for everything?
No. Should I?
Well, I don't weigh every individual record. I have a preset weight that I use for 12-inch, 10-inch, 7-inch cassette tape and CD.
Well, shirts come in all sizes, so you have to know how much each shirt weighs.
Yeah, well, extra large, medium, and small. Yeah.
The 3X's are pretty heavy.
Yeah. I get, but still, that's like a 6, like 6 or 7 weights. Like rather than weighing each individual shirt brand or something.
I think we're saying the same thing in different ways again.
Okay, sorry.
So I think we should give the show a score, maybe. Do we doing scores? Do we like doing scores?
Do we?
It's more of a pass to me where like, don't watch it.
I think I will go with, if you have not watched anything from this year yet and you are on the fence about a couple of shows, this show is one that you absolutely do not want to not watch. Like, this is a show I feel like people are going to be talking about well into the future, especially with the OVA episode coming out in the summer. I think it highlights things that are otherwise like swept under the rug or like not hit with as much depth as it goes into with this series. And I think that everyone should watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it's not on your radar, it needs to be. Even if you just check it out and you watch an episode or two, it may not be your style or whatever, but I think there's a lot to take in. And I think even just watching it for the gorgeous animation and production, even just the audio alone is worth. It's better than most shows that I've listened to or watched.
Especially this show is airing on television. Like, the amount of detail and animation is like unmatched by anything I've watched this season. And these are rookie animators, guys.
Yeah, they're doing way better at rookie animating this than the people at IG did it with the new Furikuris.
True. Facts. Facts, though.
It's true. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, in terms of who's got the better rookies, Cloverworks. Yeah, so I think if you are a fan of Magica, Madoka, Magella, Magica.
Yes. Yeah.
Or flip-floppers. Like, if you're into this genre of show, then certainly this is an essential watch.
Yes.
I
like
even
that.
Even if you are not a specific fan of this kind of show, it is a high quality enough show that is worth watching. You know, it's worth watching on the basis of being great.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I'm going to revisit it. You know, I'm glad that I watched it, but I'll watch the OVA when it drops and move on with my life. Yeah.
I think I found my new anime kink, and that's blood animation.
Yeah,
Attack on Titan's doing it real good. Satoshi Kon did it real good.
Yeah, you gotta watch.
This show be doing it real good.
You gotta watch Shigarui Death Frenzy.
Oh, okay.
This is a samurai show with also like lots of guts everywhere, blood splatter. Yeah.
Doro Hey Doro.
Yeah, I gotta get on that shit myself.
I be liking some blood animation, but not in real life. Because I got an owie and I didn't like it.
You have your own trauma now.
It was traumatic. All of a sudden, I was on the ground.
Yeah, I feel like my vaccine shot is going to be a trauma like that for me because I fucking hate shots so much. I'm always like hyperventilating and crying and passing out and shit.
Really?
Yeah.
Aww.
I gotta get 2 of these motherfuckers. My parents were like, try to find the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, so you only have to get 1 shot. And I was like, I don't know if I really have a choice. Don't I just take whatever they give me?
That and Johnson & Johnson gives people cancer.
Seems like
gives people cancer?
Yeah, they put talc in their baby powder, and it gave people cancer.
Oh, I thought you meant the corona vaccine.
No, but you know, I'm just dragging them through the mud.
Word.
So a 3-pass review. Go watch the goddamn show right now.
Good show.
It's so good.
It's only 12 episodes. 13.
Ish.
So that's our episode.
Thanks for listening.
The wonderful egg was our top priority. We prioritized it, and
you should
it was at the top. It was wonderful.
Yeah, prioritize that egg, baby.
Yeah, if you like our show,
it was a wonderful egg.
Go back and listen to the rest of our episodes. There's a lot now. We've been here a year, so.
Oh yeah. Go check out our Anime Bros collab, and all the other collabs we've done because they fun as shit. And we'll see you in our next episode.
Yep. Take care of yourselves.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Otsukare.
Thank you guys so much for listening and being here. We super appreciate every single one of you that listens to our podcast every week. Join our Discord to continue the conversation and get notified when we upload new episodes. Or if you just want to hang out and chat about anime. The invite link should be in the description of whatever platform you're listening to this on, as well as in our link tree of our Instagram at Otaku Host Club, or on our website www.otakuhostclub.com. And if you like our content, it would be super awesome if you went over to Apple Podcasts and left us a review. It's super helpful for us to get the word out. And if you do, we'll read it on air. And with that, we'll see you in the next episode.